I took the top one.
It's a part of my title. Okay, thank you. Hey guys, nice to see everybody. My name is Brandon. This is a title that I do at my own personal time on LinkedIn, but my title is a mid-market relationship manager on LinkedIn. What I essentially do is I manage a book of about 65 clients. It's about a $2 million book, and LinkedIn wants me to grow that to about $3.5 million over the course of the year. So that's my challenge for the year. I guess no one actually grows up wanting to be in sales. You just kind of like get into it. I think when I was a kid, I wanted to be a basketball player. And then I got to high school and I realized that wasn't going to work out. So to keep my mom off my back, I told her I would be a doctor. Immigrant parents, obviously. And then I got to university and I realized that 6 hours in a lab every day is going to be for me. So I said, oh, okay, well, I'll do business. Business stuck. And before you know it, I'm graduated. Like most people don't know what I'm doing. I have this degree. I think I'm the shit. I'm not really, because everyone's got a degree or diploma of some sort. And I essentially had to figure out my life. So I was moving mattresses out of Bed Bath & Beyond. I was working at Foot Locker, selling mustard. I was just doing anything to sort of get by. And I actually had a mentor at that time, and he told me, you need to stop focusing on what you think is the model job for you, but focus on really assessing what skills you have and focusing on your strengths, and then looking at opportunities in the marketplace that meet those strengths. So, and I'm coming from being a Western graduate, you know, this whole social thing was, I guess, a strength of mine. And I really enjoyed business, and I had a great passion for business. So I decided sales was sort of the angle I was going to pursue. And this is, granted, as a 22-year-old. So looking for jobs, I kind of want to be in finance because that was where my degree was, but I had this dream of being an investment banker, Wall Street sort of thing, because that was cool to me at the time. And I would go to all these networking events, and I would work the room. I would do so well, but when I had to show my resume, I would just get axed out, and it got really frustrating at the time. And the reason was because I wasn't an Ivy grad, I wasn't Queen's Commerce, I wasn't those guys or girls that those big banks were looking for. So my first job out of school was at Canon. Canon, a lot of people know Canon from the camera company, but I worked in the photocopier division. So it wasn't the sexiest job. I was selling photocopiers door to door in Markham. A black guy selling photocopiers in Markham is not the easiest thing to do. And it was tough. I was getting rejected. Cops called on me because I was, cold calling door to door, and it was really tough. But looking back on that, that was probably the most valuable job I ever had. And the reason was because that job taught me how to deal with rejection, taught me how to get in front of people, capture their attention in a short period of time, and articulate a value proposition that hooks them into ultimately purchasing what you're selling. So worked there for a year, did really well, and then my career actually pivoted. I actually started working as a sales recruiter. Funny enough, they're actually in this building on the 3rd floor. And I became a recruiter. Again, never done this before. And I was selling essentially human capital. So I'm not selling a product or a software, I'm selling people. And people are much harder to sell because they could say no. So did that, but what I learned there was that there's a lot of opportunities in Toronto. That was my first job. That was the first time I really understood what the tech industry was all about. So I was getting these individuals jobs, whether it be entry-level sales jobs, medium, to senior level roles in sales, and I was just like, wow, these people are making a ton of money. These jobs are cool. They got cool offices. They get lunch every day. Like, this is awesome. I need to do that. So I started. So then after like a couple years, I just started focusing on, okay, how am I going to get into sales? So I started networking, messaging people on LinkedIn. Luckily, being a sales recruiter, I knew how to write a perfect resume. So use that, leverage that, and I also learned how to interview. And I knew every question every hiring manager would ever ask me. So I equipped myself and I started going to interviews, whether I wanted the job or not, just sitting in interviews, learning how to kind of take myself through an interview, how to answer the questions, and how to sort of sell myself, because that's really what you're doing in a job interview. And ultimately, I landed at a company called Citrix, big tech company based out of California, as an account executive on the acquisition side. So it was a lot of cold calling. Really learned how to sell technology. And technology was very different than Canon when it just came to sort of door-to-door cold calling, where it wasn't so much the hustle in the sense of like, you know, just being the typical A-type sales guy trying to hook them in. It's really about taking a step back and understanding business problems. Understanding, okay, what's going on in your business? Why is this happening? What's your pain? What's your business pain? What's your financial pain? And then hooking in what your software does that will help solve those pains. That's really what sales and technology is about. It's about solving business pains. And the better you can ask questions, the better you can understand a company, the better you will be at positioning the company to solve that pain. And Ryan, as you mentioned, a lot of it is emotional, and I do agree with that 100%. But another aspect of it, in my opinion, is also the business aspect of it, and people have to have a business case as to why they purchase something from a vendor, and it's up to you as a salesperson to position that appropriately. So worked at Citrix, had a great time there for 2 years, and then I kind of leveraged my sales recruitment background with my technology background into my role at LinkedIn. And what I do at LinkedIn specifically is I help companies recruit people, and I provide them solutions, both on the back end with the recruitment tools, but also on the advertising side to go out and scale their business to attract the people that they're looking to hire. We currently have about 590 million people on LinkedIn, 15 in Canada, which is about just under 75% of the Canadian professional workforce, which is about 22 million. So we work with those businesses to really get their brand and their jobs that they have open in front of that targeted audience. So for those of you looking for opportunities, these companies are spending a lot of money with us to actually get their positions in front of individuals like you. So my sort of advice would be, you know, networking obviously has sort of been said, but one of the things that I sort of learned as a sales recruiter is that if you're not coming from the sales world, there's sort of 3 things that I found a lot of companies look for, and it's DNA, and not the deoxyribonucleic acid, whatever that's called. It's drive, nature, acumen. Those are those are the 3 main things people are looking for. So let's start with the first one, D, drive. You know, are you a hustler? Like, what are you working towards? Are you looking to buy a house? Like, what makes you wake up every day and make you want to do your work? And is your nature. Like, are you a likable person? Are you someone that people want to be around? And then A is acumen. Like, what's your business acumen like? Do you read books? Do you actually like sales? Do you have any idea as to what industries or what the market landscape is? Those sort of things. And if you can do a really good job of articulating those 3 things, despite your level of sales experience, you should be successful in getting that first job. And the first job may not be your sexiest job or your dream job, but if you stick at it and you prove yourself, like any sort of field or position, you'll ultimately be able to leverage that into your next role, and get to where you want to be. So that's all I'm gonna say.